Okay. Sorry for any background noise here, but I found this video. I've been looking at a multitude of videos on the Tom Brady New England Patriot contract situation. I have my thoughts and opinions on it, obviously, but I've already laid out one of my opinions on the situation. Because one of the constant narratives that I heard over the past few months was that Tom Brady has constantly taken less. They could, I guess the Patriots could have once in his career playing for them, they could have looked out for him. Now, this is my thought process when it comes to contracts. You're not getting paid for what you've done in the past. You're getting paid. It's an investment for what they believe you can do in the future. Okay, so if a team pays a quarterback a shitload of money, even though they've done nothing to earn the money, that's because they expect the production to be at this level over the course of the few years that you've signed. And if they refuse to pay a quarterback, like the whole Dak situation, obviously the Cowboys, they like Dak. They think Dak is a really good quarterback. They think that he could be shaped into a winner at some point. But they don't think he's a winner now. They don't think that he has all of the intangibles that you would need to be a championship caliber quarterback. They don't have that faith in him. So they don't want to pay him on par with some of the better young talent. Now, one of those quarterbacks that I don't agree with is Jared Goff. I think if Dak Prescott's value is based on what the Cowboys or whatever team he signs with, what they sign him to, that's what his value is. It's not what we believe it is. It's not what we think it is. Just like if Tom Brady gets signed, whoever signs Tom Brady to whatever contract they sign him to, that's his value, and no one can argue that. But I think Tom Brady, I can see him leaving. I can see him leaving because there seems to be no resolution. And Shannon made a good point. If it was about keeping him there, they would have given him a contract that I guess he wanted a long time ago. But I don't know. I guess we got to see what happens. It's one of those situations where you can make all the predictions you want. You can make all of the, you can have all the opinions you want. But this is just one of those things that you have to see it play out. But let's get to it.
And Tom Brady, because Robert Kraft reportedly isn't going to get involved in negotiations between Tom and the Patriots. According to Tom Curran of NBC Sports, real negotiations have yet to begin, but Kraft, quote, will not intercede despite his long stated preference that Brady retires a Patriot. He is committed to letting Bill Belichick decide the football future of the team. So, Shannon.
All right, and I'm going to give my opinion on that because she's going to ask him, do you think that Robert Kraft will at some point, step in? I'm going to say no. All right, I'm going to say no because I believe when it came down to Jimmy Garoppolo versus Tom Brady, I believe Kraft had a hand in Garoppolo being moved. I believe that. But I also believe that Kraft won't make a move this time because when you look at the value of Brady and Belichick has the value. He has the value that gives him position. He has the power right now. Because whether or not I believe Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play, or whether I think he's the greatest quarterback ever, his career is coming to an end very soon, and there's nothing he can do about it. Bill Belichick still can coach well after Tom Brady has left the game. And I think it would be a bad business move, and I think it would be pretty idiotic for Robert Kraft to take Tom Brady, even though he said it publicly that he believes that he looks at Tom Brady as a son. I mean, most of the team's success, the worth of the team is in part to the contributions of Tom Brady. So it would be a really stupid move for him to take the quarterback who's 42, 43 years old, who's on the back end. I mean, he's at the bottom of the hill. He's like a step or two away from being out of it. All right. Versus the coach who still can coach probably 20 years of highly productive football. You would be stupid to take the quarterback over the coach. And this is when it comes and this is why I say, like, I don't get why they take players. Like, they value players much more than they value coaches. Because the shelf life of coaches is a lot longer than players. Anything can happen as a player. You could break something and then your career is over like that. Coaches, they have a lot. So they have staying power. So if you have a coach that can get the job done, that's the person you need to side with. You need to ride with. And Kraft will be smart to do that with Belichick, and I believe that's what he's going to do.
Are you buying this?
I am, because I said it earlier. I said I believe this time Brady, Mr. Kraft interjected, and Brady won. This time around, 2 years later, I do not believe Mr. Kraft would interject. Skip, because here's the thing. This is what's at play here. I believe all the other teams that are interested in Tom Brady can offer something the New England Patriots are unwilling to do. And what's that, Skip? They will give him more than 1 year. Because the Patriots could have made this, Skip, they could have made this a moot point. They could have said, here, Tom, here's a 2-year extension, or here's a 3-year extension. Still give him the $8 million and say, okay, next year be 25, the year after that be 27. They could have done that if they didn't wanted to. But there's a reason, Skip. He's going to be 43. Look. And I hate having to say this every time I talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowls. He's gone to 9, and he was in every championship game for the last decade, seems like. But Skip, take Brady off the back of the jersey and just evaluate him this year. Skip, oh, I'm glad. You know what, Jenny? Just came to my attention.
What?
Skip Bayless said the numbers. This right here, the numbers. The numbers say Tom Brady was 27th in completion percentage. The numbers say that. The numbers say Tom Brady was 27th in yards per attempt. Okay. The numbers say Tom Brady was 19th in QBR. Now, Skip Bayless.
And although I agree with Shannon with his, final opinion, I guess, about it, I don't like the process it took him to get there. Because if we just look at the numbers from this year with Tom Brady and Tom Brady alone, not factoring in anything like the offensive line, the wide receivers, the running backs, his age, the fact that he is regressing. If we don't take that into consideration and just look at the numbers, Brady looks like a below-average quarterback. But when you take the time to factor in all of these variables, it takes some of the, it takes some of the negative out of his performance this year. But, that's just the rational way of thinking about it. Because if the offensive line can't hold up, the running game for the New England Patriots was so bad this year. Sony Michel looked like he had promise, and the offensive line was so bad, he couldn't get anything. Like, I think he had one 100-yard rushing game this season. So, those kind of things have to be taken into account. Tom Brady had a lot of pressure on him this year. And when you can't generate a run game, the defense will primarily focus on stopping the pass. That's just the way it is. Why focus on a run when there is no run game? So those kind of things need to be taken into consideration.
You love numbers. You just force-fed me numbers about Sunday. Yep. Now, I just gave you the very numbers that you turned and tried to use against me. Take Brady off the back of the jersey and say that his name is David Kicklighter. I like that name. Went to school with some kicklighters. David Kicklighter's his name. And you say he was he's about to be 43 at the start of next season. He was 27th in completion percentage. He was 27th in yards per attempt. And he was 19th in QBR. And none of the other stuff matters because we're evaluating this past season. You want that? Oh. You signing up for that, Skip Bayless? Absolutely not.
I'm signing up so fast because let's read the rest of the numbers. That man was up against this last year, the sorriest roster he's ever had around him. Because last year...
This offense was bad. This offense was... it was bad. I'm surprised that they were able to make it to the playoffs. And if I'm being honest, defense alone will not get you to the playoffs. You need offense to get to the playoffs. You need offense to win titles. I mean, I put more value on the defense, but you still need consistent offense to win, to be a winner. This offense was bad. I mean, the receivers couldn't gain any separation. The tight ends and the 3 tight ends that the Patriots had combined made for one average tight end. Like that pretty much was how it was going. The run game was obsolete. The offensive line was banged up. I mean, they were hurt unbelievably, drastically, or whatever you want to. Like, they were, like, one of the commentators, when they were talking about the one of the analysts, when they were talking about the offensive line injuries for the Patriots, he said they have never, during the season, reached into free agency as much as they did to try to bring guys in to put on that offensive line. They brought 2 guys in within the first 5 weeks of the season and put them in immediately. That offensive line was bad. I mean, really bad. Like number 1 draft pick bad. Like that type of thing. So I don't know, man. You can't really just ignore all that.
Here, if we could look at this, he had a bunch of spare parts in his offensive line, then coached by Dante Scarnecchia, probably the greatest offensive line coach ever, and he is now retired a second time.
Because he know what's up.
I think he will stay retired. So Tom's thinking, do I want to go back to that? His run game, Tom Brady's run game last year ranked 18th in the NFL. Is that good? I don't think that's very good. The defense that you were raving about most of the year, once it hit Baltimore, that was week 9 at Baltimore, it got exposed. From that point on, it allowed the 10th most points. I'm sorry, the 10th fewest points.
Right. The Patriots defense was exposed against the Ravens. It showed a huge weakness on the defensive line and the linebackers. It showed their inability to stop the run, which when you look at all the games that they lost, the run game was a huge reason why they lost those games. And to be honest, I'm surprised they beat Cleveland because Nick Chubb destroyed them. Like, he was going off, and I'm surprised they won that game.
Ranked 10th in points allowed.
Right.
From that point on. So they went from greatest defense ever to falling off the cliff.
Yeah, man, as I told you, they was never that.
Well, that's and they were 13th in rush yards allowed over those last 8 games. And then that quarterback that you say, what's the eye test tell you?
What'd it tell you?
That quarterback somehow lifted that sorry supporting cast into position to have the 2 seed in the AFC. That would mean you get a bye week ahead of maybe 1 playoff game to get to Baltimore, right?
They were right behind Baltimore, but the loss to Kansas City, and then I think they had like another 1 or 2 losses after that completely knocked them off and put them down there to where Buffalo was.
So the point is, he did this. He went 8 plays in 60 yards against the Dolphins to win the 2 seed, to put them up 24-20. If we could see how this looks, tell me what your eye tests tell me. These 4 completions you're about to see from Tom Brady. Here's the first one to James White. It's 8 yards. There we go. He looked pretty good in the pocket there. That's for 8 yards. Next one's just going to be a little 4-yarder to Benjamin Watson. That works. That looks like Tom Brady. Now here it comes. It's 3rd and 4 at the 32. Here's to Sanu. Tell me if this looks like Tom Brady. Tell me if this looks like Tom Brady.
Are you going to protect him like that?
There you go. That'll work. That's just, now here it comes. It's 3rd.
All right, now let's look at that play again and listen to what Shannon said after the play was done. He said, well, when you get protection like that, notice the defensive line of the Miami Dolphins. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but they had 3 rushers. Which the Patriots dealt with that pretty much all season, where teams will go out with 3 rushers and have a whole bunch of just DBs and linebackers out there pass defending. 3 rushers, and I've said it multiple times that there were a couple times where I watched a 3-man rush against the Patriots get immediate pressure. I mean, they were in the backfield before he finished his 5-step drop. Like, it happened a lot.
3rd and 4 at the 32. Here's to...
Look, there's one guy right there in the middle. There's one guy right there, and there's one guy right there. That's a 3-man rush. That doesn't mean the offensive line is doing a good job. That just means the offensive line is doing what they're getting paid to do. When a team comes out in a 3-man rush, there's no way you should get to the quarterback within 2 seconds, within 3 seconds, within 4 seconds. Like, seriously, you should hold up. Unless you're a really bad offensive line, and then you don't. That protection just isn't there. But, you know, it is what it is.
The new. Tell me if this looks like Tom Brady. Tell me if this looks like Tom Brady.
Are you going to protect him like that?
There you go. That'll work. That's just Sanu for 22 yards on 3rd and 4. And here comes 3rd and goal at the 13. Help me out. That'll work. That'll work. And it's a touchdown. So that's the drive. That went 60 yards in 8 plays. And all of a sudden you're up 24-20 with...
The New England Patriots, the plays that he just showed versus the Miami Dolphins. Let's not forget the Miami Dolphins were looked at as the worst team in the NFL. And if those receivers can't get open against them, it is a really bad look against the worst team, and you're supposed to be a playoff team. But those were just a few plays. And I don't look. I'm just saying, Tom Brady obviously is regressing, but the factors. There are factors in sports. There are factors. It's not just black and white. There are contributing factors to wins and losses, to performing well versus performing really bad. There are factors, and you have to take in consideration. This is not NBA 2K. All right, this is not Madden where you can just pick up the sticks and those computer-generated people on your TV don't have emotions, feelings, personalities, you know, things that are going on. It's not like that. These are human beings with real feelings, with real emotions, with real personalities, and those things need to be taken into account. But, you know,
3:53 left. Now let's see what Ryan Fitzpatrick, of all quarterbacks, does to the defense you were raving about all year. Because I'm seeing a whole bunch of completions in a row. 13 plays, 75 yards. There's the first one for 10. Then the next one is about to go for 9. That's good. Now it's 3rd and 1. Let's see what happens on 3rd and 1. Stop him. Oh, that's pretty easy. That's an easy 5-yard catch. And here goes a 24-yarder from Ryan Fitzpatrick against Belichick's defense. Oh, that's not... That's on Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, that's the defensive player of the year. Okay, the guys on the tell out to have one bad game.
He's just going bing, bing, bing down. Here's 3rd and 5. We're about to see 3rd and 5 at the 27. There's another big completion for another first down. Then we got an 8-yard completion. This is against Belichick's defense. This is for the 2 seed on the line. And then we got a 4-yard completion. Whoops. Now we got... Here we go. This is it for the whole season right here. Season's on the line. 23 seconds left to Gesicki for a touchdown. That's what...
If you're supposed to be an all-time great defense, which people consider that defense to be all-time great, if you're supposed to be an all-time great defense, there's no way a team that was obviously tanking like the Miami Dolphins should beat you, should have any drives where they make you look below average. And that drive made them look below average. And that was the game-winning drive.
Belichick's defense allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight completions by Ryan Fitzpatrick to blow the 2 seed. That's what Tom Brady's up against, and that's why I don't really care what Robert Kraft says, because I think it's going to be Brady's decision. He's free right now. He's going to say, I don't want to go back there.
Why is he free?
Why would I want any of that?
Why is he free?
I don't want any of that.
Why is he free? They could have made it a moot point.
Good.
He couldn't have been free.
Good.
But you know what I did? What I noticed, were there any drives before that last drive that Tom Brady had? The one that you showed where he had 7 completions. Were there any drives in the game before that?
Well, sure there were, but he put them ahead 24-20. It was going to take a touchdown to lose the 2 seed, and you saw what just happened.
What about that pick 6 that he threw that put him behind in the ball game?
Yeah, okay, but he overcame that with yet another game-winning fourth-quarter drive that should have stood up. If Belichick's defense were half as good as you kept saying, they would have at least stopped.
If you don't mind me asking, you say after Baltimore, you said the Patriots defense was 10th, allowed the 10th most points allowed.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, can you tell the people at home where the Patriots offense ranked after the Baltimore game?
They ranked for the year dead last in separation.
No.
Tight ends were dead last in production in the league.
Skip.
How can Tom? You can't fault Brady for that.
Well, Skip, you keep talking about he was playing.
And this is the problem. And this is the problem when it comes to like LeBron James or players like this, Tom Brady and LeBron James. I'm just going to use those two. All right, or Aaron Rodgers. There you go. 3 players: Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, LeBron James. This is where the problem comes in when people start arguing about these players. When they play, when their team wins, is mainly because they're getting highlighted for something that they've done. When their team loses, we're looking at the deficiencies of the teams. Now, when you have a guy like Shannon Sharpe who loves LeBron James, who for some reason has some kind of antipathy towards Tom Brady, every win he's looking at something LeBron James carried them or whatever. When they lose, there's always some kind of deficiencies on that team. When Tom Brady wins, he looks at the defense, the offensive line, Bill Belichick, the run game was getting going, all this other stuff. And when they lose, he highlights what Tom Brady. And this is when we get into almost this box that you can't escape from, is that certain people's feelings towards certain players are so strong, whether it's love or whether it's hate, that they can't really see the forest through the trees. Like they can't see anything outside of what it is that's in front of their eyes that they're focusing on. And I think this is where Shannon is weak at. And I also think that Skip is weak in this area as well. And this is why, if anybody goes on there with common sense, who doesn't go onto the show with any kind of agenda, any kind of allegiance, could pick them apart, make them look utterly ridiculous in a lot of their arguments. Okay? Because Shannon, and this is what's confusing me about Shannon, is that, and it's making me think like he has something against Tom Brady, because I don't see any other reason for him to be this obtuse about a lot of the issues that this team obviously had. He's a former player. I'm pretty sure he could understand the struggles. He could understand the disrespect that some of these players go through. Because if I'm trying not to go left field with it. Sometimes when I have these conversations or whatever, I tend to take it somewhere it doesn't need to go. But I'm gonna try to make this quick. Him being a former player, I'm pretty sure he had games that, whether it was a bad offensive line, maybe the quarterbacks didn't play as well, maybe the running game couldn't get going, that affected his play. I'm pretty sure there are games in his career that was affected by the other players on his team. Or maybe the defense didn't show up on a particular day. Maybe they didn't play as well, so they probably were down maybe a couple scores early, and they spent the entire game playing catch-up, which can affect the mindset of the offense, which could affect the performance of the offense. I'm pretty sure he has had those games. So for him to sit there with just this stone face, like, those kind of factors don't exist when it comes to talk. When we're talking about the New England Patriots, those kind of factors don't exist. I think it's ridiculous. I think that it's ridiculous, and I think he should stop. I mean, I get it. He has his agendas. I get it. I have people sometimes say, well, it's biased. These talk shows and shit. They don't really. I get it. But being a former player, and seeing how these former players are so aligned with the game and the players in the game, is almost like some brotherhood that you will defend the game. You will defend the game from a player's perspective, even long after you're not a player anymore. If you have an allegiance to a certain coach, to a certain player, to a certain organization, you lean that way. It's like a fraternity. You do not turn your back on your brothers. And I feel like there's something that happened between Shannon and Brady. I don't know what it is. I just feel like there's something there. There's something there. But, you know. Alright, so that's the end of this, man. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've done a video. I kind of just took a break. I just, you know, this is my first video back, so I felt like I wanted to make a video on it. This isn't the most together video, but hopefully you get something out of it. All right.